Okay, with this video we're going to discuss the Mig Gun, some of the anatomy of the Mig Gun, also called a torch. Inside this is going to be carrying your electricity to create the arc. It also carries your gas for protection and in the arc also. And this switch here turns on the gas flow and the electric current. So it's either on or off. It's not, you don't vary anything with it, it's just on or off. This here is called the nozzle. It's really actually short for gas nozzle. So you can buy these in different sizes depending upon where you're welding and how much gas coverage. But in general, they're about this size. And in this gun here, this nozzle is threaded on. So normally when you put it on, you would just thread it on by hand, snug, and that will be fine. However, as it gets hot and cold, it expands and contracts and it will become very tight. So that's when you would use your Mig pliers to perhaps help you. If it's hot, you can't grab it. And also if it's stuck, you use your Mig pliers and you can unscrew it to take this off. Okay? Usually you don't need to take these off. However, when you first start welding, you're usually going to want to clean up this nozzle because it gets filled with spatter, and the spatter is going to disrupt your gas flow. So when you first start, you usually are going to want to clean that up, and these Mig pliers are designed to do that by putting this in here and twisting it in here, and it should clean up most of that spatter. Right? The other portion here that is considered a consumable is the contact tip. It's called the contact tip because you have your wire that comes out and the electrical current is put into this contact tip and then transferred to the wire. For this reason, the wire and the hole of the contact tip need to match. Since we use 030 wire, our contact tips are going to be 030. But if we get a fatter wire, you need a different contact tip with a different hole. And likewise if it's smaller. So these two are going to match. Again, when you first start welding, you often will need to clean this up, which you can do with a wire brush or a steel wool or something to clean this up. Over time, the wire will wear that hole so it becomes elliptical, and the wire will not get even contact and will tend to bang around and disrupt your arc. So you need to replace these periodically as the hole becomes elliptical. So you would put this on. In this case, this one just slips in there. Okay, it's just held there, and then this nozzle, which screws on, will hold it in place like this and self-centers it, so it's completely centered. Okay, we do have the other machine has a different Mig gun or torch, and in this case the nozzle slides on, okay? And this contact tip is threaded. So once again, if you can't get it off, it's too hot or it's too tight, you can use your pliers. You have the smaller region up there which will grab that and loosen that, and then you can change it. Now usually if somebody's welded, the wire, since it fits tightly through here, is going to have a little ball, and you can't just pull it right off. You need to trim off that. You need to trim that tip off, and then you should be able to pull the tip right off. The other problem that happens when you first begin welding is if you are too close for too long, it will melt the wire onto that tip and it will no longer thread. So you will need to sometimes it's difficult with the threaded one because if it's melted here, it's hard to unthread it because it has nowhere to go to pull the wire. And the worst case scenario is you have to go all the way back in the machine, cut the wire so that you can pull it out. If you can unthread it just enough to pull it out, you can cut it here and then put a new tip on. But that's why, one of the main reasons why this other gun is considered an advancement, because as I take this nozzle off, which threads, if this nozzle is welded on here, it's much easier to get that cut because it doesn't thread. But either way, you need to keep the nozzles clean. the contact tips clean, and make sure that they're fairly new and not elliptical, and it should be good to go. I think that's it.